Make your way through the Dolly woods. A lot of creepy shit in these Dolly woods. Why would you hike after seeing the dolls and the weird old shit? Oh, you guys knew what you were getting into in the Dolly woods. What the fuck's going on in the Dolly woods? Maxie Impaler is made for horror. I hope that they get many more roles bigger than this. Dolly is a Shudder original getting a limited theatrical release. It was written and directed by Rod Blackhurst, who did the Night Swim short. Thankfully the short, not the movie. The movie wasn't very good. The concept was made for a short film. That being said, Dolly could be, well, labeled as a short film. It's barely over 80 minutes with end credits. But also, by the way, Rod, not from Birdemic, did Blood Dust, and also this was written by Brando Weevil. Everything is Weevil. So we have two people that go hiking in the woods after leaving Chase's daughter with Aunt Sadie. Chase, by the way, played by Sean William Scott. Yes, Stifler in a horror movie. Actually, I think he might have been in a few others. I need to actually check out his filmography more. Sean William Scott seems like a pretty good guy. But anyway, his girlfriend or fiance, or soon to be fiance, Macy, played by the very, very pretty Fabienne Therese, not Sid Charisse. They go up into the woods. They actually go to a cliff that kind of reminded me of the cliff from the Yoga Kill in A Violent Nature. I don't think it's the same one. I wouldn't be surprised because, if maybe I was wrong just because of like the woodsy location, but whose woodsies are? Well, Dolly has a clue because Dolly is patrolling around a bunch of weird dolls to the point where basically Chase is wondering what the hell are all these dolls doing there and all this weird shit. And, well, they don't heed all the neon red flag warning signs to get the fuck out of there. Yeah, Chase ends up in a very bad state, and Macy ends up kidnapped by Dolly because Dolly is bound and determined to show that Mommy knows best. So, yeah, this got advertised as having a deliberately grindhouse feel, nightmare fuel in the vein of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I will take the characters in this over the characters in Texas Chainsaw Massacre outside of the final girl. And there are chapter breaks in this. I'm not going to mention them until spoilers, but I will say as far as a Shudder original that knows what it wants to be, doesn't pretend to be anything else, and yes, has some dumb decisions by characters, where you're just screaming at the screen, what the hell are you doing? Pick up this weapon and do stuff, or get the fuck out of there. No, don't do that. Horror 101. I do have to say that Fabienne actually does a good job as Macy. She shows just the right mixture of, fighting back, but also, recoiling, having that, sometimes the reflex to basically just like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on here? Like, doesn't quite have that killer instinct, but it builds over time. Kind of like Dangerous Animals, but with a lot less Aussie people in it. And I do want to shout Maxie Impaler, who I've been a fan of since seeing them on multiple, wrestling shows. But the fact is I actually got to see them at one of the last indie shows for a particular promotion 3.5 years ago. I say they, by the way, because Maxie Impaler came out as non-binary, called themselves a non-binary nightmare, I believe. Very intimidating look. They are an intimidating person. Apparently really nice. I mean, I've never actually met them. I didn't get a chance to meet them at that indie show. Very big, very imposing. Very athletic. Can move well, which the NWA had done more with them. I think Tony Khan should scoop up Maxie Impaler, but if Maxie Impaler wants to go into horror, does perfect as Dolly. It doesn't require a lot of speaking. In fact, it requires no speaking at all as far as the role. But Max is imposing, physically dominating, and also can do a lot of, pantomime stuff because, wearing the porcelain doll mask and having the face paint and stuff like that, and just that mean-looking face. Max has the perfect face for horror. They are going to do very well if they want to stick with this stuff, and I encourage horror movies to take a look, cast them. They're going to do well. That being said, I just wanted to shout that out. But it's not a perfect movie. There are times where you're just going to say, okay, I just want to throw up your hands and basically give up. But stick with the movie, and it'll hook you. It hooked me pretty much from the very beginning. There's great sound design in this. I did question how one particular character survived any of the blows they took. But it's also just a nice mix of really, throwback feel, but also having a bit of a modern spin on it. I mean, it has that grindhouse look, but it has smartphones, that kind of stuff. It's not set back in the 70s, but I just like how it felt. I liked how it looked. And again, Max did a very good job, but Fabienne did a really good job as well. So that's pretty much it. Just want to shout that out. There's not a lot to get into in spoilers. I'll just talk about a few violent moments that I like that's in theaters right now if you want to check it out. So 3, 2, 1, there you go. Spoilers. So we start off with a narration of, or not a narration, but like a scrolling text thing of, actually it's like, dotting text. But what I like about this is that it tells the story like, a child, a mother, that kind of stuff. And then we cut to a back shot of Max. And they're just, whatever, everything. We still got the back shot of Max going on. And just, so we stay on this back shot a whole lot. I'm just going to say the word back shot occasionally in these reviews to just see if anybody necessarily wants to get disgusted. But that being said, we finally pan to, why are these flies going around Dolly? Well, there's a body, with no head. We're all going to be headless teenagers with no heads. So that was fun. But anyway, we then, cut away from that. We cut to Macy, who is riding along with Chase while he drops off his daughter, Evie. I assume spelled the same name, same way as a family member, I'll just say that much. And she's talking to her friend who, very fucking pretty. Who was that friend? That friend was very, very, I think the friend was Rachel, but my word, more on her, please. More on her. I didn't mind seeing her character at all. I mean, her character is important, though. I just thought the actress was very pretty. That being said, she's talking about how, I think he's going to propose, but, he loves you, his daughter loves you, but I never really thought of being a mother and that kind of stuff, and that's a theme that is going on with this. And then they go into the woods, again, could be in the violent nature woods, who knows, and they are hiking up to they're hiking around, they see these dolls, and Macy doing the stupid thing, taking these dolls, oh, this one looks like me, this one kind of looks like you, this one doesn't look like me at all, Chase is saying. And Chase is like, what the fuck is going on with you? Probably questioning, should I really be marrying this woman that's going to do that? So he is ready to, propose to her and that kind of stuff. But Dolly, meanwhile, is freaking out, doing this kind of stuff. Again, we're seeing some shots, we're seeing some more back shots of Dolly. And then there's like a radio thing that's turned on. And oh my God, what's going on here? Chase is wondering. So Chase goes to stupidly chase after Dolly. Sees Dolly and instead of backing away from the person that clearly has blood in their hair, whether it's their real hair or not, or a wig, doesn't matter. But you see this person from behind. You get a back shot of them, and you see blood. And when you have blood in your back shot, you really need... I will stop doing that one of these days. But yeah, blood in your back shot, make sure you actually go to the doctor. But stupidly goes to do this. Hey, are you okay? Oh shit, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were a fucking murderer. And then gets grabbed around by the throat, his larynx damaged. And then can't get away. There's a shovel that's almost put to his throat, but nope. The shovel goes down and breaks breaks his foot. Great sound design. Almost breaks his leg. I think it just cracks his leg. But I thought cut his foot off Carrie Von Erich style. But goddamn, that was brutal. And then Macy is like, oh, she found the ring and stuff like that. And was wondering where he went. And then got captured by Dolly. Did actually have a small knife, by the way. And used that small knife. And did damage Dolly. And it's one of those little, Swiss Army, pen knife things. So it can do damage if you're smart, but it's also not the strongest metal. So you got to stick them real good. You might be able to run down a little bit, but that being said, gets captured, gets taken, and then we get some role playing stuff where she has to basically play along and play the daughter, or play, the baby and stuff like that. It's even in a crib. Macy also hears this weird voice from the other room, and it's somebody telling her basically, you get this key, you get me out, and we can get out of this whole thing. I'm going to say, by the way, this person in the other room is the father. You're going to find out why the father is in there in a little bit. And we do get a point where it looks like she gets put in a high chair, Macy does. It looks like we're going to getting fed the food. She's kind of throwing up the food. Oh, wait, you want some milk. The milk doesn't taste all that good because she throws it up. And then Max gets their tit out. I mean, okay. God bless Max for, going the extra mile with this role. But they did that, and oh, geez, the hard work, God, it was going to make you cringe. But she bit Dolly's nipple off, just bit off, and bleeding through that and everything. And mind you, very little noise coming from this person, and then running around trying to get through this stuff, and gets into Dolly's room that's seemingly pristine. So actually, I think it's the mother's room, and actually it's the parents' room. And despite the fact that it's a 2-story house, it barely seems like that the amount of rooms would have justified a 1-story. But she's basically told, go down into the basement and get the key and whatever. So she's trying to go down and get that she's trying to go down to the basement and get that. There's a candlelight vigil and a bunch of dolls and stuff like that. But meanwhile, Chase is alive. Chase, by the way, I forgot to mention, in addition to his leg getting cracked, actually got his jaw cracked, so it's hanging off like this, like the character from Army of Darkness that had to reset like that, or like Imhotep. I'm serious, it's like hanging like that. Great makeup effects, by the way. He somehow is alive. I mean, I get why they did it, given where they went with a particular thing a little bit later on. But still, I'm like, okay, that's a bit of a logic loophole, like, no way. And by the way, the chapter breaks are mother, daughter, home, father, and then I'll get to the rest of them here in a little while. Reunion, fight, and goodbye. So, Macy is, has damaged, Dolly to an extent, does manage to get the key from the Jason Voorhees-like thing with Mother, but Dolly somehow is down there in the basement over there. How did Dolly get down there? It's fine, whatever. So the idea is Dolly is now rocking her to sleep, like, oh, you're going to play up and stuff like that. But the thing is Dolly is damaged. Dolly is bleeding. Dolly is having issues. And we basically get... We basically get, like, kind of a tense scene here where she's trying to get out of her arms, but Dolly's like this. I'm saying her as far as a character, not Max, respecting the pronouns. But Dolly is kind of really having some issues, asleep or not, is having some issues, probably dealing with blood loss. She gets the key, Macy does, unlocks the door. The dad basically says, oh, this dead body in the corner, by the way, yeah, that's the brother. As his brother came looking for him and got killed. The dad got freed, and then dad immediately takes Macy as a hostage. Because he says, I can lift this door bar thing. Can't lift the door bar because he's too weak. Because Dolly is very, very strong. Because Max the Impaler is very, very strong. But we basically get a standoff where the dad is saying, once I get free, I'm going to take you as my little toy. Because it turns out that's like father, like daughter, like father, I guess. And we do get a point where we get a standoff. Dolly will not hit her dad. And then he ends up actually hitting Dolly and hitting her a few times. And then she ends up stabbing, and Macy ends up stabbing the dad after getting bashed in the nose with a shovel, trying to get out. And then the best gore part of the whole thing is, I'm going longer on this than I thought, but I'm fired up about some of this stuff because it was pretty good. But the dad's like this and starts freaking out, and basically Max the Impaler just does, I know called Dolly, but let me just pretend it's a wrestler doing this. Reaches through, literally says, I'm going to reach through your chest, rip out your damn spine, stuff like that, the line from the Running Man. And, yeah, rip right through his chest, that kind of stuff. And Dad's dead. Okay. Dolly ain't going to let Macy go, though. Macy's like, I helped you. That's true. And the thing is, brings up Macy to the room, and things still aren't going all that well. we get, a little more tension with that. But then suddenly she hears Chase, who has somehow managed to drag his ass there. I mean, he made a splint, for his leg, but still with his jaw hanging up. And Macy, throws herself out the window. We get a weird psychotronic-like thing of her falling. And she somehow is okay. Glass everywhere, but don't worry, the physics are there, and we just don't care. But she reunites with Chase. And oh my God, this kind of stuff, I love you so much, I love Evie so much. Instead of getting out of there. Granted, they might have not been able to get that far because of his leg and stuff like that, but he managed to get that far. They could have gotten away, but no. Dolly shows up. Dolly finally rips his jaw off, that kind of stuff. So thanks for coming, Chase. That shows how the power level where it'll get you. And then Macy just starts getting the fuck upset. She runs away. Weird camera tricks and stuff like that. Weird doll stuff. She's freaking out. And there's also this pit where the mother's body is buried and stuff like that. But she's upset. She's just fucking had it. And finally starts snapping. But the thing is she's still not strong enough to fully take down Dolly. Does hit her a bunch of times with the goddamn shovel. By the way, the dad not, in addition to getting his heart, ripped out, also got his head bashed out. But yeah, Dolly gets hit a few times, kicked a few times. And the whole theme of this is Dolly took the engagement ring, and that's what Macy has been trying to get back. Because it's something that, Chase was going to give her. And boom, 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 boom. She tries to get the ring. Dolly's getting her. So this is where people, I think, might start to get a little bit irritated because of the dumb decisions. But just wait, we're almost over, folks. The last chapters, by the way, reunion, fight, and goodbye. So we're getting the fight. We're in this open grave, this pit. It's a literal fight pit. Har, har. And then she gets back to kind of civilization because there was a vehicle when they parked. And you might have thought that this vehicle might have been from somebody in Dolly's family. No, it was from a ranger who's listening to very loud music on headphones, on a Walkman almost seemingly. Macy shows up and says, we got to get out of here. Woman in a doll mask, this kind of stuff. And doll mask has been kind of broken too, that kind of stuff. But still, Dolly is very much alive. The ranger, instead of just either handing her the keys or getting in there and saying, we're going to radio for help on the way, we got another one. I thought maybe they were going to go with the ranger being in on it. No, the ranger's just stupid, gets killed, gets decapitated. Dolly's hitting with the shovel and stuff like that, breaking out the stuff. But then Macy manages to kick the door open and basically, hits, a few times, just basically gets the keys, is trying to get out of there, and does manage to get out of there, but Dolly's standing in the way, runs her over, and then gets out, and gets the engagement ring, and walks backwards, facing Dolly, making sure Dolly isn't going to get up, and then gets away. Gets away, drives away, has the ring on, is freaking out, laughing, kind of like, at the end, Sally, I think was the character's name, at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I haven't watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a really long time, so forgive me. And as the end of Dolly, a surprisingly effective movie, way better than I expected it to be. I am very surprised with what I'm going to give this. A-. I'm very entertained. It has its issues, but it knew what it wanted to be, and it succeeded in that. So there you go. Biggest surprise of the year so far. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin, and until we see Stifler in another horror movie again, hopefully with his jaw intact, happy trails to you.